Welcome to part 2.
Okay, so I'm back at the beginning ish. I got this on there a little bit better, and I've gotten these guys apart. Let's see how many flat washers it'll take to fill that gap. I can put another one in there. That works okay. So I'll put 3 on here. Actually, I may need 4 because I think this spreads. We'll see. Like I said, I did not drill the holes perfectly. It takes a little bit of persuasion to get everything to line up just right. Yeah. But I'm thinking this will still work out. Anyway, the stainless versus the steel, because there was quite a bit that was corroding, and one of the things that was kind of gnarly, this is the old hardware, and you can see the corrosion. This went through the hole, and this was what my strap attached to, this way, and you can see the corrosion. The hose clamps, oh, this was another that was through the other hole, and I don't think it was pretty to start with. The hose clamps have got a little, picked up some salt and rust. You can see the washers are just nasty, gnarly. And it's scattering more stuff everywhere. That's fine, that's why we're doing this, so that it doesn't do this. And all of the holes will be sealed up. So this will be closed. Both ends will be closed. Let's see. This is one of those puzzles that has to go together just the right way, in the right order. Oh, that's nice and tight. No! One more, fingers crossed. Harrowing. Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Like I said, you can see that holes don't line up perfectly, but with a little bit of persuasion, if you hold your mouth just right, as my grandmother would say, should, I could, I've already done this like 4 times. Nope, nothing. Try the other direction. You can see it's right there. There we go. Now, trying to get this even on both sides, so I'm using this to crank down. This side is flush. side is not, so I'll back that off a little bit. Crank that up a little bit. It's looking pretty. Ow. That hurt. Put these guys on. The old, grand old tightening tool. This was a special for 25 cents. Came from my in-laws. Let's see. There's hair and fuzz. Use this to crank. Use this to crank. Crank this side a bit. Okay, so washers aren't moving. It's nice and lined up. These guys aren't moving. Let's see, can I get... Wow, full rotation of that. I don't think I'll be that lucky on the second one. That didn't look too bad. Well, that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. Before I poke myself up anymore, put these guys on the ends. Oops. Now, safety first, or third, or fourth. These are just anti-slip tips for chairs. There. All right. There's that. I will clean up and reposition, and onward we shall go. All right, I'm going to record until my wife calls me for dinner because it's pizza. Okay, so here is the layout. This goes up here. That's the handle that goes across. There's the stopper. There's the screws that hold this guy on. And here is the reel. Now the problem with this is it wants to sit on a curve like that, but the way that I had it last time was in between the two, and that was where this little guy came in. So it sits there and there like that, just kind of fill the void a little bit. These strap it down around there. Found the grippy tape to go underneath the... Ta-da! This is an eyelet from a fishing rod. Found it in the house, here in a box, randomly with a couple of others. Let's see, and this went on here like so, and then this was originally zip tied right there, but I have these stainless steel hose clamps that I'm going to use to zip it down right there. I do have some UV proof zip ties. They're black and I don't want to use those. Actually, what I may do is I may put this together and put a little bit more paint on there because that color doesn't really match. Then I'm going to be particular about it. So I'm going to lay this out, going to wrap some stuff around it, and then try to put this thing together. Okay, so I've wrapped the top where the eye is going to go with this stuff called Miracle Tape. I found it some years ago. It sticks to itself. Main reason for this is because I do not want the paint to chip and flake off. That's the whole reason for painting this silly stuff, is to, you know, kind of protect it. So that will sit on here like this, and then the hose clamps go on, and then the top will go on as well. So I'm going to do the same thing down here. I intend to print a filler piece for this. I have not done so. So I'm going to mount it like that. Now the reason I have two sets of eyelets, initially I was just going to do a nut. I do have some nylocks I could put on there. But I have found that while I'm out kiting that sometimes I need to hang stuff off of my person. So I can clip some stuff on here, and if I need to change positions, if I want to go higher, as this is mounted against me, that this will be primarily where it sits, or how the strap attaches, but I could go higher if I needed to, without it interfering with the reel. So that's the plan. I'm going to put some of this Miracle Wrap around here for these guys, from here up to there. Fingers crossed. Sometimes it pays to plan ahead a little bit. I did not think about wrapping the EMT with this tape until after I had it assembled. So now I'm going to take it apart so I can do it the right way, because I never want to have to do this again for another 5 or 6 years. Almost back to where I was 10 minutes ago. Well, it appears I have boogered up the thread taking this apart, so I'm going to work on straightening that out. The best way to attempt to fix that thread is to run a nut up the other side, and I can feel it grab. Work it back and forth. That's all I can do. Well, okay, so I happen to have a couple of adjustable wrenches here in the basement office. I'm going to cheat one more. It is better to have the threads on the end in good shape than the threads in the middle, because nothing is threading in the middle. So I'm going to hold that. Alright, let's try this guy. Okay. It's tight. Now what I can do is that I have that on there, I'll just thread it through this way. There. Flat washer, lock washer. I'm almost caught back up. And it's kind of obvious that the holes aren't straight, but it will work just fine. Okay, so this is going on there this way. It's going to mount right here. I've got these guys apart. I want to make sure that I can get to the screw, and I want it on the flat side, so I'm going to mount it to the back. Like that. I'm going to need that later. And two different size tools. Why these things are so different, I don't really understand, but they are. Alright, so I can... These guys are very flexible and bend. More to the point, they squash. One of the things I can hang off of this is a lightning detector. Now that sounds like a silly idea, but we have found that storms can come up. I actually have footage of a storm coming up and flying my cloud through the storm. It was fairly low to the ground. It was quite bizarre. Alright, now we'll put these guys on facing the same direction. Something like that. Up close and personal. Oh, that's as far as I can go. I'm gonna cinch this up. That's pretty good placement, so I'll cinch that up. Now, since these protrude from the back, I'll have to keep in mind when I set this down not to scratch up a table or a car or anything of value. The big thing is that we don't shoot that wiggle out of the hole. But do I even need that? That's pretty tight. So if I can take and see if I can remove that. That may be where the tightness was coming from. There it is. Well, that's straight now. Let me put a little crank on there. This does get under some heavy loads. It doesn't seem like it would. But when we're fighting strong winds, trying to reel this thing in, this has gears working to assist you. Whereas my buddy's is much larger in diameter than this. So you have more leverage. This has gears, or it is geared rather, to assist. But there are times where I've fought to bring a kite in and the winds are so strong that I can only lift, crank, push, and pull, and you can get about one crank in about every 1.5 seconds because there's just that much tension against the line. This is a reel that I got from Bass Pro Shop back in the clearance section. I thought I was going to be cute, and it's got a line counter because this is a deep sea fishing reel. I don't think that's accurate, so much so, and this is braided Dicron. It goes by the name Spider Wire, but the Kite guys use this stuff. I think this is 35-pound test, and that's more than they recommend you use. Because you actually want the kite string to break before the rig breaks. Oh, and there's the telephone. So I've got this placed. I've got the first one tightened down as much so as I need. I'm having very deja vu moments on this with these tools. I've never used these before. I don't think I have. I could use a screwdriver. Yes, you're saying I could use a screwdriver, but I'm trying to get a little bit more tension on here. Oh, pretty good. It's a little cockeyed, but it's not going to matter much. This is just to guide the line from here. There. So this is to guide the line out here. Much like a fishing rod, so that it has a focal point. All of the focus of the reel is on the eyelet, and then the way that this is made, it's the force of the line is riding around this little plastic piece or phenolic resin or whatever this is, and it holds, it doesn't wear down with the line passing through it. That's what I was going for. All right, the handle, even with an overhead camera and my cell phone monitoring it, I have a hard time getting everything to line up so that I can film it all. All right, so there's that. Ta-da! Anyway, so this is just, I guess, tennis racket grip tape, and it worked for me last time. This is going to go up that far, so I need to wrap that much. I do not do this professionally, so it's just going to happen, and it's going to look the way that it does. Now, I typically don't. Ew, I don't think this was a good idea. Oh, this is not an adhesive backed. Oh, this is what holds it on. This may not go well at all. The last one was adhesive. Let's see. Oh, it's actually multiple pieces. Oh, this is going to be bad. Not exactly what I was hoping to do. Look at that. It doesn't look great. I don't even remember buying this stuff. I just found it the other day. See, look at that. That doesn't look nice at all. Into the floor. Okay, so that's gonna... I'm just gonna wrap. Oh, what I was gonna say is I typically don't do dark colors for something like this because it gets so dang hot. But the colors were not available to me this time around as much as I would have liked. Yeah, this does not look good at all. That's kind of nasty. Maybe it's backwards? Oh, so I usually don't do things in black just because I get hot. I would have gone with a brown if it would have been available. And this is just looking worse and worse. So I guess there will be a part 2 to this project sometime later next year. Alright, so that is, jeez. Like I said, I don't remember buying this stuff or how old it is. Apparently it has a limited life. Ah, that is nasty. Tried to wash as much of that dendritis off my hands so it wouldn't stick to the tape. But that's just nasty. And for anybody that's learned anything about me on this channel, I'm a little fastidious. I'm not a neat freak by any means, but sometimes, man. Okay, so I used that whole piece. I did not trim it down any, other than what just shed. All right. So this goes on here. We've got a screw to go in to hold it in place. And that did not get painted. And I typically use a table or a flat surface to kind of get that in the right spot. Give her a good tighten down. And these I did paint, and we're just going to leave that like it is. Alright, now this guy, well, I can start the screw. I didn't paint it. Let me do that next year. Let's see. Ta-da! Anyway, there are some designs that folks have built over the years that work for both speed and leverage. This is built for speed, not so much leverage, although it does come in handy from time to time. All right. Wish I could remember how to do this. There she is. Turn around so you can see the pretty side. Get a little bit of the gradient in the orange up to the yellow. And then obviously the bright yellow fluorescent chartreuse, whatever color string this is actually come in handy to stop seagulls. No, seagulls? Yes, seagulls and pelicans from running into the line. Fishermen will buy green or the translucent. Apparently there was some red that my brother was fond of. They buy it so they can see it. Well, if they can see it, then the fish can see it. Some say, sometimes. But this, the birds could actually see. So this is the clasp that goes on the end for the Kite to attach to. And it's a swivel. And there will be lots of footage, lots and lots of footage of Kite stuff next week. And we've got a special surprise because this guy is very unique. So this is crazy, me filming with the new camera. I'm using my phone as a viewfinder. This is what's going to be flying next week. It's going to be really, really cool. I wanted to just say that thanks for sticking around for this. This has been needed for a while. I actually started this last year. No, I forget. Maybe earlier this year when I started taking it apart. I've got a note on it somewhere. But this will be a lot of fun at the beach in the coming weeks. As long as we don't have too much rain and we have some wind. If we don't have any wind, then it's not going to be so much fun, and then we'll have to do sandcastles, which we'll have footage of that as well. Maybe in 360 degrees. Thanks for sticking around. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Too many hobbies, not enough time.
It's a theme song, y'all.